On the eve of the 1967 Six-Day War, Jews around the world were terrified that their newly born country was about to be destroyed. But as Scott Ross reports, no one could have imagined the victory that was in store for Israel and how history and prophecy would come together to deliver an amazing victory.
I was writing a chemistry exam in my junior high in Montreal, Canada. I snuck in a transistor radio to the exam room. I was listening because we were frustrated and frightened.
More than 5,000 miles from Israel, Jewish teenager Moishe Kempinski was feeling the shock waves of the Six-Day War.
The world told us the next Holocaust was going to happen. Tel Aviv and Haifa were digging up mass graves. We expected the worst.
Then something very different happened.
On June 6th, something miraculous happened that we really weren't aware of. The most powerful Arab army in the Middle East was the Jordanian Legion. British armed, British trained. They were in charge of the old city. And for some reason, till this day, no one knows why, they just picked up and left.
On the third day, Israel captured the old city.
So on my transistor radio, I was listening to a broadcast of a broadcaster, a correspondent running with the forces. Then Rabbi Goren decides to blow a shofar, a ram's horn. Thousands of kilometers away, blowing the shofar, the sound goes across the radio waves. I knew at that moment, no matter what would happen, I would become a Jerusalemite.
Author and shop owner Kempinski moved to Israel more than 30 years ago.
How's it changed your life? I mean, that's a pretty loaded question.
Not really. It's when I finally realized I'm not reading the Bible anymore. I'm not studying the Bible. I just became the Bible. When you realize that you're walking here is a fulfillment of prophecy. My child playing in the park 30 years ago, and I realized, you know what, maybe my son Yoni was the one that Zechariah saw in his vision when he says in Zechariah 8, there will yet be a time when old men and old women will rest on the streets and children will play in the streets of Jerusalem.
Do young people today appreciate that? You have what, 6 children? All served in the military?
All served in the military, and all of them very much appreciate it. In addition to that, it gave them the eyes to see everything in its real context. Construction booms, cranes that you see all over the country, you suddenly realize they aren't construction cranes. They're the words of Amos 9 being made physical. I will rebuild your ruins. How is God going to fulfill prophecy if not through construction cranes? When you realize that every physical thing you see, every brick you see, every building you see being built is actually God speaking to the world saying, wake up. I'm doing what I said I would do. Are you going to be part of this plan, or are you going to fight it?
And for the future?
I think what is going to happen is there's going to be more negativity, and there's going to be more people realizing God's on the move. And everything, but everything is possible.
Scott Ross for CBN News in Jerusalem.
That victory was 50 years ago. But now with all the chaos surrounding Jerusalem, many wonder how to pray for Israel. Here's one answer.
I'd like to ask the listening audience to pray on a regular basis for the peace of Jerusalem, because Jerusalem is the epicenter of the universe in the mind of God. Not mine, not America's, not Russia's, but in the mind of God. Jerusalem is the epicenter. It is the place where Abraham placed Isaac on the altar. It is the place where the first temple and the second temple were built. It is the place where Jesus Christ is going to sit on the throne of his father King David and rule the world. There's a supernatural war right now that is waging and is soon going to rupture into a literal warfare over the peace of Jerusalem. The Prince of Darkness wants that for the Antichrist. The King of Kings wants that for King Jesus. So when you're praying for peace in Jerusalem, you're praying for the peace of the world, but you're also praying for the sovereign will of God to defend the Jewish people and to defend the state of Israel.